It's great to have everyone joining us this month for our webinar. We know it's a very busy time for faculty, especially as we are in final projects, final papers, students asking, how do I get bonus points? All of that lovely end of semester joy. So we're thrilled that you are with us today. Backed by popular demand, we have Danny and Nicoletta. They presented last month on some incredible resources that they've developed, and the feedback immediately was, we want more. We want to see them and have more opportunity to explore. So we are so thankful for them to be back with us. And before we start, what we'd love for everyone to do is if you could just hop in the chat real quick and let us know if you attended part 1, and also if you have any specific types of resources that you'd like them to share. This is a bit more unstructured than the first one because, again, this was based on requests from former attendees to have an opportunity to spend more time with Danny and Nicoletta and exploring the resources. So with that, I will turn it over to Danny and Nicoletta. I'll let them introduce themselves. And we're just thrilled to have everyone here.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning for you. For us, it's early evening again. For Nicoletta, even a little bit later already in the evening. We were very happy that you liked the tools we presented to you last time and that you want to know more. So we're very happy with that. I am Dani Verreke and I'm the project coordinator of the 2 Erasmus projects that we have introduced to you last month. And at the University of Applied Sciences in Bruges, West, it's called, I am the research coordinator of the Department of Nursing.
And me, I'm Nicoletta Mitrea. I'm a nurse, palliative care clinical specialist in Hospice Casa Speranței, Brașov, Romania, which is the pioneering organization for developing palliative care in Romania and in the region, in the Eastern European region. And in parallel, I activate as a senior lecturer in the University of Transylvania, also from Brașov, Romania, and I'm the lead person for the Romanian team that was involved in both projects that Danny will say a little bit more about. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll try and share the screen. I hope, is it working? No.
There it is. And it looks like we have a mix of individuals who did attend and did not attend last month.
Yes. So Nicoletta and me, we prepared a short presentation this time, just a small recap of what we said last time. But I will take you again, I will explain both projects. I will take you to the project website, give an overview of everything that we have, and then it's up to you to cherry pick what you would like to talk about with us. So let me just see if I can find the right screen. Yes, okay. The dream of our team started in 2018, where Minna from the University of Applied Sciences of KAMK in Finland came to Bruges, and there she met with my colleague Veerle Coupé. And by coincidence, they happened to sit at the same table at the dinner in the evening from the International Week. And very soon they discovered that they had the same passion for palliative care. And from then on, in the year that came after, the consortium was gathered together with people that were as passionate about palliative care as Minna and Veerle. So Nicoletta joined, Piret Paul joined, and the European Association for Palliative Care joined. They kind of locked themselves up in Brașov to conceive the project. They wrote the project. It was submitted to Erasmus. And in 2020, we were very happy to get the good news that the project was going to be funded. So that was the start of the whole story. The last year of the first project, Nurse Edupal at Euro, we sat together. We said we still want to work together. We don't have enough of each other. We want to stick together and work further on education and palliative care. And so the last year of the first project, we locked ourselves up in Belgium this time, and we conceived a follow-up project. We submitted it to Erasmus, and we were very, very happy to see that it was funded again. And so because of that, we have been able to work together for almost 6 years now. So the first project, Nurse Edupal at Euro, the target group there were the teachers. And the overall aim of the project was to better prepare bachelor degree nurses to deliver palliative care, but through their teachers, by professionalizing their teachers. And the main output was the European core competencies. We have a paper on that. We developed engaging teaching tools with tutorials to support the teachers to train their students on those core competencies that were developed. And then we made a European matrix, which is combining the competences and the tools to inspire teachers to build their curricula. That was the main output, but I will talk more about it in a few minutes. For a follow-up project, of course, we needed to expand what we had done in the first project. So the idea was like, you can prepare your students very well because now you have well-trained teachers and you have nice resources for those teachers to use. But when the students come into the work field, very often they come into an environment that doesn't have the right palliative care mindset. And so everything that they've learned during their educational program, they are not able to put into practice. And this is very frustrating. So even if the educational part is good, if you don't have the workforce with you on the same page, then you can keep on educating your students. It will just not work. So that was a little bit the mindset for the second project. So the target group there are nurses in practice already, but also still nurses in training, teachers, but also educators of continued educational programs. The overall aim here is to empower nurses in training and in practice to become palliative care influencers, because we believe that if you train people to strongly have a palliative care mindset, they will kind of, have a ripple effect on their surroundings. And like this, we hope to have impact. And the main output there is a learning trajectory that I will introduce to you in a couple of minutes. And then learning content and knowledge activating impact tools with tutorials again. So there are materials that you can use as a student, as a nurse in practice to self-study. But again, those tools can also, and the learning content can also be used by educators and teachers to give content to their programs. So our dream team that did all of these things is here depicted in a couple of pictures on the different locations where we met. So our team consists of Ho West. This is where I am working, in Bruges, in Belgium, in Brasov, where Nicoletta is working, in Romania, in Finland, where Mina is working, and the European Association for Palliative Care. They are situated, their seat is situated in Belgium, but most of them are living in Ireland, actually, but still. So this is our team. And although the members changed in the two different projects, this was still our core team. So the first project, Nurse Edupal at Euro, was a strategic partnership. This is the kind of funding that we've got, a strategic partnership to improve palliative care education. And we kind of set different phases into the project. First, we said, okay, we're going to set the standard. And to set the standard, we did focus groups, nominal group, because it was COVID, so we had to do it online. Nominal group approach to gather core competencies. We had people from education there, but also nurses in practice with or without experience in palliative care. So we had an interdisciplinary team for each country to gather those core competencies. And then once we had those core competencies, we also wanted to have good, realistic stories of real cases, real palliative care cases, and those together we put into the book of cases. These are 10 different cases that were actually originating from the work of Nicoletta in the hospice. The book of cases consists of different parts. It consists of a case vignette with very detailed information about the whole case, but then we made stories out of it, short stories for novice level nurses and for advanced level nurses. And all of that we put together in a big file. And this was the input for the different training tools that were developed. So we have simulation education. So we developed 5 scenarios of an elderly couple that is going through a palliative care trajectory. And every time in every simulation, there is a different focus. So it goes from being just, getting a diagnosis all the way to the dying phase. We have cases on clinical and ethical reasoning. We have an escape game, and we have graphical novels. And for everything, we have the tool itself, the content itself that you can use, but every time there is a tutorial alongside of it, so that you can also, if you want, you can make your own graphical novel, you can make your own escape game, you can make your own simulation case. So like that, we wanted to empower the teachers. Because simulation education requires a little bit of background. We made a big e-course. We call it rather a MOOC than an e-course. And this just gives you the background of simulation education, what is important, what it takes to make a good simulation scenario. And then we have a kind of a video tutorial in where you can see every step in making a simulation scenario, but also doing the simulation itself, the briefing, the simulation, and the debriefing afterwards. So that is our MOOC. And then we put the competences together with the tools, and like that we made the European matrix and the toolkit to make your own curriculum in palliative care education. All the materials are freely available for download on the project website because we really wanted people to get access to it and to use it, adjust it if necessary to their specific content, to their specific culture, so that the materials would just, go and live their own life. The learning trajectory that we've developed in the second project, Nurse EduPal at Impact, you can see it here. So the idea is that, research shows that often people have all the knowledge they really need, but for them to act, they miss self-efficacy. And this is also the case in palliative care. And if you flood people with a lot of knowledge, then their self-efficacy goes down and the chance that they will actually do something becomes smaller instead of bigger. So with that idea, we thought, okay, we need, first of all, of course, you need knowledge. So we made, we made on different topics for professional, clinic, and moral, ethical leadership and palliative care. We made course manuals, we made e-courses, and we gave live webinars, teaching webinars with those resources. And all these materials, they provide the minimal knowledge that you need, at least that's what we think, to become an influencer in palliative care. So that's the middle circle of our model. So once you have attained that knowledge, and most of that knowledge you can attain in self-study, then you need to work, you need to improve yourself. You need to become more confident that you are able to make a difference, and so to increase your self-efficacy. And to do that, we made impact tools, a whole set of diverse activating tools, knowledge activating tools to increase your self-efficacy. And we have implemented those tools during 3 national impact weeks, where we had our communities of practice come to our facilities, and with them we have trained the knowledge that they had gained in the first circle of the model. So once you have the knowledge and the self-efficacy, then you can start influencing other people. And so this is the third circle of our model, and that is improving others. And to train that, or to activate that, we have 3 national Let's Influence programs. So that is that we had people that had done the knowledge circle and that had completed the impact week. They could apply to be coached for 6 months to implement a small change in their working environment that would improve palliative care, or that would sensitize people about the importance of palliative care. And these programs are now ongoing and will probably end by the end, just before summer. So, and once people have transited through the 3 circles of our learning model, they have become palliative care influencers. So that is the second project. So the resources, like I said before, we started with the core competences in the first project. We build a lot of tools in the first and the second project, and all together they form the European Matrix for Palliative Care. And so now I will try and bring you to the website. Oh, and there it is already. It's working very well. So this is our project website, and in under the tab Education Tools, there you find all the resources of the first project. And you can see an overview here. I will show that to you in a bit for you to kind of choose then maybe what you would like to talk about. So the outputs of the first project had to be called intellectual outputs. These were the guidelines of the Erasmus project at that time. So we called them like that. So we had IO1, IO0, the start of everything, is the book of cases that I explained. Then IO1 was the core competences. In IO3, we made an e-learning how to make your own simulations. IO2 were then ready to use simulations. IO4 is an escape game in which the 4 pillars of palliative care are touched upon. In IO5, yeah, that was the virtual showroom. So that was our project website. In IO6 were 2 big parts on clinical reasoning and on moral debate. And again, we had there a tutorial. What does that mean, clinical reasoning? What are the steps in clinical reasoning? What are the steps in a moral debate? And then we had completely worked out case studies also that teachers could just use as such. And a template how to do with the different steps of clinical reasoning. Then IO7 was the European Matrix, and then we added the graphical novels that were developed in a Belgian project, but for which we got the approval to use. And these are short one-page graphical novels that every time give you a case, a palliative care case, a different from a different persona, a young boy, a person with a migrant background. Yeah, so 5 different stories, and those stories are very useful to have a palliative debate with your students, because you can ask them, what do you think went right in this case, or what you think could have been improved. So you can really try or figure out what is their level already of understanding of palliative care, what is their palliative care mindset. So you can have a baseline from which you can start, but we are also using it in a multidisciplinary workshop with social workers, with occupational therapists, because in the cases, there is no interdisciplinary team present at all. It's only medical staff, which is kind of intriguing because palliative care is per definition interdisciplinary care. But it gives you the opportunity to ask to the students or to the participants if your profession would have been involved here, you know, would it have gone like that, or maybe it would have been better or different. And so it's a very nice way to get the debate started. So these are the outputs of the first project. And if you go a little bit lower here, you have all these tabs. And there you can, if you click on them, you can see that in the different languages, you can just download all of these materials. Okay, so that's for the first project. The resources of the second project are in project resources. And this is a work in progress because the project is going to finish the end of November this year. So we still have a couple of months to go. So we are still adding materials. So you see that we have materials for the 3 leaderships in palliative care. And so, for instance, if we click on professional leadership, you first get a little bit of explanation, and then you see that we have the resources in 3 different, presented in 3 different ways, but in the same, with the same content. So we have the webinars that we've recorded, like we are recording the one here today. We did the same. We have course manuals and we have e-courses. So every time you can watch the webinar, but you can also download the PowerPoint presentation that was used during that presentation. So if you want, you can just kind of copy or copy partly, and you know, you have a starting point. You don't need to start from 0. And then the course manuals, every time again in different languages, and you see it's not really complete yet, but anyways. And then we also have e-courses. So if you click on the e-courses, it will just take you to the software. Well, there you go. And then you can just start the course, and then you can see here all the different classes or different parts of that e-course. In the e-courses, there is interactivity. So that means that you can do little tests of what you have retained, or you know, do little quizzes and all kinds of stuff. So they are more interactive, of course, than the course webinars, than the course manuals. Okay, and the same thing, let me go back to the resources. So the same thing for clinical leadership, the same explanation as before. And then we have the webinars, we have the PowerPoints, we have the course manuals, and we have the e-courses, and there are still some of them missing here. And the same thing goes for the moral ethical leadership. We have 4 presentations there. We have the PowerPoints, we have the course manuals, and we have the e-courses. And then, so this is the knowledge circle, and like you can see here in the schedule, and this is all the information for the inner circle of the project. And then for the second circle, we have the impact tools. So we are moving up, or we are spreading already into the trajectory. We have some general content, the circles of learning, and then we have impact tools on professional leadership, on clinical leadership, and on moral ethical leadership. And especially on the impact tools, we are still doing more. So more materials will come available. And then finally, we have, that's the most important thing. We have dissemination webinars like we are having today. And also those you can rewatch through this tab here. Now, so then back to the, let me see if I can, I don't know why I cannot get rid of this thing.
Danny, I see we have a hand up, so
yes.
Can we take this? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi there. I have been writing down lots of questions, and I don't know how hard it is to go back to that other page. But I had a
yeah, wait then, because I'm having okay, here we go.
Okay. So at the top, we just did a little visit in the educational tools, and then you have project resources. So if I were a new user here and I was on the project resources, I see you have a tab for leadership. Was that?
Yeah.
Professional leadership. I was trying to follow along with you. I opened the website.
Yeah.
Following along with you. The professional leadership, I'm wondering if, would you say that could be something that faculty would want to look at? Or what do you mean by professional leadership? Could that be like graduate students, or just curious who you're targeting?
So maybe I will let Nicoletta answer that question. What do you think, Nicoletta? Because your team was responsible or had the lead in professional
we
leadership?
have created those materials that are under the professional leadership. And if you remember from the first slides that Danny has presented, the targeted population for this second project were teachers, nurses in practice, and students, but students at different level of education, so not necessarily only undergraduate, and also postgraduate in the palliative care master program, and so on. So because under this professional leadership, there were subjects, some of them are listed here, but some of them are not yet listed. For example, time management, negotiation, delegation, teamwork. So we definitely will think that teachers and the nurses in practice will benefit more from this, from going through these sessions in order for them to become palliative care influencers. For the undergraduate level of education, at least we have piloted the clinical and the moral ethical tools. So I hope this answers your question.
Yes. It's really quite broad.
And actually in Belgium, we in our school, we have for the last year, so that's nursing education is 4 years bachelor degree in Belgium. And so the last year students, they can have is it optional course that you say that is, you don't have to follow it, you can choose to follow it? Is it the right word? Okay.
It's called, I would say in English, it's, here it would be an elective, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So it's elective and it's expert, it's an expert course. It's called Influencer in Palliative Care. So you already know where we got the inspiration. And our students, they did have to look at all the leadership webinars or the course manuals, whatever they preferred, or the e-courses, because we wanted them to develop something that and those students they are already in the workforce. We call them bridge students. So these are actually vocational nurses that continue to study to become bachelors, but they combine that with a job in practice. So they are nurses in practice. And it was incredible how they took up the leadership to make a change where they were working. So very, very nice to see. And they all had a very nice approach. I particularly like the change management resource because you have the different steps of Kotter to make changes work. And they just did it, they went to talk with their chief nurse or head nurse or with their director or whatever, because they were very, very motivated to really make a sustainable change. So I think but of course, these are older students, they're not 20 years old. They are older, they have experience. And so, but it worked very well.
So those are the students, those are the people that you coached. You
Yes.
mentioned, okay.
Yeah.
Danny, can we put down the website in order for us maybe to see some more of the people that are present in the...
Yeah.
Oh, that goes to another question is, can you monitor use of the website?
Yes.
We can monitor, we have some website analytics, but what we cannot see is if people, like for the e-courses, if they do the entire e-course. We can just see that they click on it. And this is, maybe a choice. So Erasmus is very not strict, but really wants all the resources to be open. And if you want to kind of follow up how people are doing, you need to kind of have them register and maybe do a little test afterwards, and that makes it can block the people going to the material through the materials. So
Sure.
we are not doing that.
I will add, Danny, sorry, I
Yeah,
will add to
yeah,
what
go
you
on.
were saying that before putting all these materials that are representing e-courses on our website, we have piloted locally the different materials that we have created. And for the e-courses, the feedback giving back to us was, it will be great if these e-courses will take no longer than 30 minutes. That was the one of the criteria for considering the e-courses appealing. Let's say if they will take 45 1 hour, 45 minutes 1 hour, there is the chance for them not to click on every little slide. So we kind of took this into account when developing the e-courses, and Danny had this wonderful idea of, if we have e-courses that take longer than 30 minutes, let's split them in two different sessions. So we prefer to do smaller bids that will give us more results, how to say, and the entire project, all the resources. One lesson that I have learned, it's doing less will take you to more, even when teaching for that knowledge. Do less, dense, and very profound, let's say, in the little details, and the learning will be much more, will stick, will definitely stick. Thank you.
I really appreciate that advice.
So if anyone in the audience wants to ask to see a specific resource or has any questions, the rest of this webinar is intended to be a little bit more interactive. Last webinar was a lot of where they explained all of this. So this is an opportunity to hear from you and to find out. So Emma, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful sharing of information. My question to you is, do you have a competency evaluation tool for students in clinical site where you could monitor the progress of their competency development from not competent, developing competency, approaching competency, and competent regarding palliative care? Because those are we're hoping to develop currently at UCL.
Yeah. Can I take this one first, Danny, and then you go next?
Yes.
So, I would say generally in Europe, we are advised, at least at the undergraduate level of education, to start developing the educational programs by having already established the competencies that we want to achieve at the end. We have this 4 years time for achieving the different competencies. In regard to palliative care, some will go longitudinal along the different modules um, um, that will take place. For example, internal medicine or general medicine or community care, it will be a little bit in the first year, some more into the second year. So there will be a bit that regard palliative care that will be included in those longitudinal modules, and then there will be so-called vertical modules. For example, here in Romania, there will be the third year nursing students and the fourth year nursing students that you are looking at how do they get those competencies, for example, in communicating using the different tools, starting with ISBAR, nurse. I'm sure you are familiar with these tools, and go to the spike, which is the communication of bad news, and the one on conspiracy of silence. So those will be in the fourth year of nursing. So it will be longitudinal and then vertical as developing those competencies. How we evaluate the acquirement of these competencies, there is a combination of tools. Some will be exams that are written exams, detailed written exams, and there will be frameworks for evaluation of these written essays, let's say. Then there will be face-to-face communication in, for example, one exam can have one, you will extract a ticket, and on the ticket will say, you need to, this is the case, and you need to perform communication of bad news. And again, there will be a framework that will be followed, and on the framework you will have bits that are a must to be mentioned. For example, introducing yourself will be a must. If you fail at that, you will have to pass the exam again. And then there will be small different steps depending on how many of these small little steps you do not perform in the direct conversation on the given case study. You get to redo the testing again. So there are more like check marks for this face-to-face encounters when, for example, for when communicating the diagnosis. And then there will be study cases more for the symptom management. They just need to write down the proper medication, what will be the benefits, what will be the potential risks that might arise when caring for that patient. And again, every time there is a Danny, how do I say?
A rubric?
Yes,
A rubric?
a rubric for checking that was performed. But this is a process that takes place also during the the every lessons, and we have face-to-face courses, we have laboratories, and we have seminars. So we have three different ways for the vertical development of competencies in palliative care for doing so in order to reach the competency. For this project particularly, it's on the clinical reasoning bit. If you go to project, the educational tools part, in the bar up there, these are the educational tools. And then you go for the intellectual output. I don't know, I don't remember the number, but it's on clinical reasoning and moral ethical. So on the clinical reasoning, you will find an example of this kind of evaluating students based on a case that they, by at their choice, they will detail it in this booklet. And there is also given the framework under which the students are evaluated. So there is a big kind of table in which in the recent years, like the last 2 years, I even give that framework to the students and say, look, this is your case study. This is how I marked it. Now you have it yourself, the the evaluation framework, and see yourself why you are graded like this in regard to acquiring competencies. The answer was long. I hope I was clear enough with my Eastern European English accent.
Yeah, it certainly helped. And I'm gonna look more deeper in your website to see how we could utilize and help our ongoing
Yeah. Yeah,
project
but
as well. Thank you.
it's a combination of factors anyway. Yes, it is embedded. I have seen what you have written down in the comments. Thank you for that. Yes, it's, yeah. Danny, if you have something to add.
No, we are kind of doing the same thing. The only sad part of it is that in Flanders, palliative care is not obligatory part of nursing education. So many schools don't have palliative care or hardly have palliative care in their program. So palliative care competences are not evaluated during the program, the acquisition of it. So we are very hard, working very hard and pushing very hard to change that. So yeah. Megan?
Nicoletta, I wonder if you might show your matrix under the education tools, because I think some of the information in that document might get at what Emma's looking for, where it lists your competencies, it maps those to some of your education tools, and then there's this breakdown of learning objectives within each competency that you would look at. And so I wonder if
IO8, IO7, I think it was the European matrix. We managed to put all together for the different competencies which kind of tool that we have created will reach that competency.
Yes, wait, I'm trying to pull it up here. I'm gonna maybe share. So when you go to the educational resources on the project website, you will go to IO7, which is the matrix. So it's a PDF document where there is first a little bit of explanation of everything, of course. Then we first have all the resources that were produced during the project. And then this is the image that I showed you, how everything integrates. This is a proposal for a 60 hours on palliative care. So, and how on the different, how much time can we spend on the different competencies? And then these are the competencies that were developed during the project. And so you can see every time which of the tools is actually supporting the acquisition of that competence. So this is the matrix for all the competences that we have. And then we have suggestions, examples of possible learning content for, again, the different competencies. So that's the matrix. And that's for every competence like that. We have lists and lists of these materials.
Yeah, it was these boxes in particular that I thought had a lot of richness in terms of say this competence, what are the behaviors, the knowledge,
yes,
attitudes that you're looking at within that. And as I think about what schools of nursing are trying to accomplish here in terms of our students working towards that knowledge, are they working towards those attitudinal elements? This I think provides some really helpful thought and considerations for what faculty might want to evaluate. And then the fact that here's some tools that do that, make it very friendly.
So you can, it is on the website, it's on the educational tools. And then when you go to IO7, we only have it in English, that you click there and then you will download the document. Yeah.
While you have this up, I would love to see an escape room because I'm just curious on how y'all did that. Because
yes,
we know that gamification is this area that students thrive in, and I would just love to see how you.
That is more difficult to, of course, to show, but I do have a couple of slides that will give you an overview. Let me see. It's here. Then I will try.
Under the educational tools for, this we have made a toolkit for how to develop serious gaming, so-called. So it is step by step the full process of making this. Of course, we have made our own serious game, but then there is also a book for how to do it.
Yes, there is a template and there is a tutorial of everything you need to think about. But just to show you how it looks, so this is when you develop an escape game. First of all, of course, you need to think very well what is the goal, what you want to reach with your escape game, what are the learning goals. Then you need to think of puzzles, and they can be challenging, but they shouldn't be too challenging because you don't want frustration. You want people to have fun and learn meanwhile. But the learning doesn't really happen during the game, or not that much. There is a lot of teamwork going on during the game because you have groups of 4 people ideally. And if you can make that multidisciplinary, that's like very good too. And then you need to think of your puzzles that every discipline can shine at a certain moment, to give them that self-efficacy. Like, I know this, and maybe you don't because you are, you have other strengths than me. So it's a lot of thinking going on before. And then you need to make the puzzles, have a storyline linking the puzzles together, which makes it more nice to do. And then when the game is done, so typically a game can last maximum 1 hour. If the participants have not reached the end after 1 hour, you stop because there's only frustration. You always have tips for the puzzles. If you see that teams are struggling and that it's taking 10 minutes and nobody has gotten the puzzle right, then you can just, as a facilitator, you walk and you kind of whisper little tips in their ears, and then they kind of restart again. And, then the excitement when they get the right answer is back. But if after 1 hour they didn't reach the end, which for me at least never happened until now, then you have a debriefing afterwards. And during the debriefing, that's where the real learning is happening. And then you can go, you can first talk about their experience in doing the game, how was it for them, and all of that. But then, of course, you also go into the content of the puzzles, and the content of the puzzles is related to palliative care. And so you make this kind of overview at the end of, as a facilitator, you have this overview because you need to get your head with it too. Because in the excitement, all the teams go, I know it. And then you need to, it's kind of, a little bit of a challenge sometimes for the facilitator as well. We had a postcard that was, gave the context of the couple, their past. They needed to count some animals, and okay, you can say this has nothing to do with palliative care, but it's about knowing the person in front of you and having their context so you can understand them. Then they had to put a dialogue together, put it in the right order, and then they needed to calculate something, and it was not such an easy calculation because a lot of them made a mistake, so that was funny. Then we had the pain at table. So there were, of course, you have a story. I didn't say that. You have a case. You read the case to them before they start with the game so that they know a little bit what it's about. And then they need to write down things that they hear that they think might be important. So they needed that information for the pain at. Then they had the EWS, early warning sign, and I found this fantastic that they had the news, so they needed to find the newspaper, and in the newspaper there were tables with all kinds of parameters, and so they needed to answer a question on that. Then they had to pick the right pill box. Or do you say it like that? You have pills for the whole week, and there were different kinds of medication, and they needed to figure out, they got 7 different ones, only one was correct, so they needed to figure that out. Then you see, we have done that a lot, that game in our postgraduate palliative care, and the one with the pills, the home care nurses, they have it like that. Because this is what they're doing all the time. So you see a very big difference in which puzzles are solved by by nurses that are working in different settings. So that's kind of interesting too. So then it's about a wound that they need to pick the right thing. And then all of the results of those puzzles, they were given a number. And that number would make a phone number. They needed to call, and then they needed to do an ISBAR communication about the situation of Maggie, because she was the patient in this story. So this is the game that we made during the first project. And it has the 4 pillars of palliative care kind of hidden in the puzzles. So if you go to the website and you click on the escape game, you will get a gigantic zip file where all the puzzles are. It takes a little bit of cutting and putting things together and making envelopes. It's a little bit of work, but once you have the whole package, so we always make it for 6 teams. So that means that you can play it with between 24 and 30 people. But ideally, it's 4 people per team, and all of it fits in one bag. And it's all paper things. And you can add complexity if you want. You can lock things up, and they have to find a code, so you can make it more less paper-based and more escape room kind of thing. But the idea was it had to be accessible for everybody. So it was the lowest technology you can find, and that's paper. And it works very well. You don't need to make it, well, at least we don't find it that it works better if you add tactile elements.
Yeah,
Yes, we have a question, I think.
It's all there. It's all there. That's amazing.
It's all there, yes.
Even all these, it's there.
All the puzzles are there. The whole explanation how to facilitate suggestions for debriefing, what could be important to pick up in the debriefing. But as a facilitator, so ideally you are with two people. One person is just sitting at the table and has all the follow-up puzzles. So the games, we picked the simplest version, which is a linear game. That means you find a solution to a puzzle and then you get the next puzzle. You can do it that they kind of go, but that's very complex. So we don't do that. We just have the linear ones. So you put the places where they can play. Every team has their fixed place. Because otherwise you get into trouble. So everybody has their fixed place, and you kind of set it up. You hide stuff, and they have to go look in the room to find clues and stuff like that. And as a facilitator, you walk, as the second facilitator is walking around and gives the tips if they see people are stuck, but is also watching how the teams are working. And you kind of write those things down too, because teamwork is important. And so if you see that maybe in some places that's not going very well, in the debriefing you can pick that up and put that as a topic to discuss. Yeah.
We have one hand up.
Yes.
I won't take long because I know it's we're almost at the end, but I just wanted to, for those of you that are on the call, I was at a conference this week, and the State of the Science in Education speaker, Dr. Heather Young, is a leader in nursing education and quite an innovator. And this gamification is one of the things that she talked about as, to help open up our minds as educators to move towards this. So I really appreciate a little example of how you've done that in palliative care. That's all I wanted to say. It is the future.
Yeah, there is one game that we developed this project, and it's on moral ethical underneath the the moral ethical leadership part.
Yeah, it's in the impact tools, Nicoletta.
I think we all need to get on the website and download all these things and spend some time this summer imagining how we might use some of them. It's like amazing, fabulous.
Thank you. It has been a lot of fun developing all the materials as well. And we learned a lot from each other. Yeah.
You were saying about this esteemed professor, Heather Young, if I remember correctly. When you get to do it, you as a teacher, you actually, again, you get to see how much you get to teach students much more efficiently, because they need to get out from their own internal resources as in engagement, involvement in the process. So instead of you lecturing or trying to do some exercising through the gaming, you actually get them activated and be present and put in practice the knowledge that they accumulated in different courses, and now they get to put it down there, and the clinical reasoning that they get to perform also. So it's a very fulfilling, but as Dennis said, it will take some time prior, because you need to get to go there very well prepared. What's step 1, step 2, step 3, and in order to keep it might not sound very well, but you need to keep in control the different things, and then you need to then you also mentioned that debriefing is very important. You will need to take every little bit that was happening during the 1 hour gamification. You need to take every bit and split it into the different layers, starting with how was for them, but then what did you learn from working in a team? What did you learn from having different opinions? Because as Dennis said, there is one master, there are two masters, one that is sitting at the table and coordinating everything, and the other one that is more approachable by the different teams. So those will be him. This will be the observer of the different small things that you ideally will take every little bit and discuss it afterwards in more details.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we had
are
this
at
small
time.
sorry.
So
Yeah. Oh, it's time. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know we could keep going. We just want to be mindful.
Yeah, but one suggestion you were mentioning last time, that you will have a kind of a meeting with educators. That will be the challenge that we are launching for you to try to do something in between yourselves, as teachers. Let's try, let's put it in practice, let's see how it works.
Ooh, maybe we could have a breakout session on gamification.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you again, Nicoletta and Danny. This was incredible. I know my mind is just thinking of all these possibilities. So we appreciate you coming for 2 webinars, and we know many people, I'm sure, will be finding their way to your incredible resource library. So thank you all. Thank you for attending, everyone, and we hope you have a great rest of your semester.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye.
It has been such an honor for us to have us as invited guests to your webinars. Thank you so much. We'll keep in
Absolutely.
touch.
Yes,
Yes.
we will. Yes, we will. Bye-bye,
All the
everybody.
best.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great
Thank
week.
you.